Good morning, my friends. One more episode with us here at New American Finance Today. Today we have a very special guest. Um, as you know, I in my business for my clients for our communities, I always like to bring people who can help us contribute to our communities. In the one of the sessions that we had before, we had a tax person, we had some real estate agents, we had some insurance people, and we had some other professionals that have been able to join us and provide some information, really good information for our communities. And today, I have the honor to have with us Mr. John Stromberg. And and John, you like us to call you John, right?
Just John is fine with me, right?
Okay, great. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today, and
Thank you for having me.
for coming to share such a great information that you have for our viewers today. And again, Mr. John Stromberg, well, he said to call him John. So John is with us today. He is an attorney, and he's going to bring us some really good information, like I said. And maybe you can share with us a little bit about yourself, what do you do, and what kind of law you practice, and perhaps if you could please.
Absolutely.
And welcome.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you again for having me. I work at Warren Allen LLP. It's on 105th and Gleason, over around the east side of Portland. And just for the record here, I'll read off the address if anybody's taking any notes. 10535 Northeast Gleason Street, Suite 200 in Portland, Oregon, 97220. And our phone number is 503-255-8795. And I've been practicing primarily family law for about 4 or 5 years now, and I do a tiny bit of just general civil practice, but the majority of my practice is family law. What are kind of the subdivisions of that, I would say, is custody, parenting time issues, child support, some restraining order issues, dealing with how real property that the parties own is going to be divided, and a little bit of elder abuse thrown in there as well.
Great. Well, seems that all that information is needed in our communities, and I find that our clients in the communities, I think the society has changed a lot. I think divorces and child support and all these social issues that we have in families these days, I think all those services are needed in our communities. And I think that's the reason why I wanted to invite you today to share with you to share with our viewers, with our communities, and this is going to be a very casual conversation. We're gonna have it just a like a kind of
just two guys hanging
just
out.
two guys hanging out here talking about how what things are happening in the communities, and how do you what are the important things about how people can perhaps prepare or can help themselves when it comes to a divorce or child support, or where they can get some help with to avoid some divorces sometimes, or if there are properties that need to be dealt with, and how they can do that, and because there are a lot of things that our ordinary people don't know, and so it's good to know those things. And I'm a big believer of information. Sometimes we do things erroneously because we don't know, right?
Right.
And
Yep.
the more we know, the better we are in the society, right? So one of the things in the real estate business, I think it's I've seen this. I just closed a transaction last week actually, where there were a couple who have been divorced, and they had a couple of properties, and they don't talk to each other, and they can't deal with the communication. It becomes really difficult when there is two uh, people being separated, being divorced, and then the children are being affected, and other family members have been affected because they can't have communication. So, uh, based on those experiences, I'm like, well, we kind of need to bring this information here. So, um, see if how we can help our people, right?
Yeah, and I think in terms of that particular issue, when the parties are a little bit hostile with each other or very hostile with each other, depending, um, the attorneys can act as kind of a middleman, and it's, in my opinion, more beneficial if both parties are represented by attorneys. The clients can, be pretty candid with their attorney. They should be, and let them know their full feelings, and the attorneys can kind of translate that into something that can move their case forward in order to get their divorce finalized. A lot of times people get frustrated at how long the process for a divorce might take. Um, that process is likely to take a lot longer if you don't have attorneys involved, because attorneys on a rolling basis will get your case going further and further, quicker and quicker each month to get it finalized. And they have the tools, like we do at my office at Warren Allen, uh, to talk with the court, to talk with the other side via phone contact or email contact, um, to really act, like I said, as that middleman, and take a lot of stress and anxiety off of the client's plate, where they don't have to deal with the other side if they're kind of annoying,
Yeah,
or they're just frustrating, or in a
yeah,
much more serious case, if there's any kind of abuse involved or
yeah,
anything like that, and they don't want to deal with that. Let your attorney deal with it. Let me deal with it. Let the
yeah.
attorneys at Warren Allen deal with it.
Let the professional deal with it, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
It's kind
Yeah.
of like when you are selling a house, let a professional realtor to help you find a house or sell the house.
Right.
The same thing for the legal area too. Let the professional legal attorney to help you to deal with whatever problem might be,
Right.
right? And when it comes to buy a house too, have a mortgage guy to help you to
Right.
get a mortgage, because you can't really get your mortgage by yourself. You have to.
Right.
You need somebody. So it's the same. I think. Now I'm curious about this. Do you think that I'm just curious? Maybe maybe you don't know. But how, based on what I'm been watching, the people, the community, or learning, do you think that divorces have been decreased? How is that decrease? Is that increase? What's happening in the divorce world these days? I'm just curious. How's that? What's happening there?
Right. Well, I like to say sometimes, I don't necessarily like to say it, but death and taxes are certain things. Sometimes divorce is almost always a certain thing in society as a whole. I would say that during COVID, for probably obvious reasons,
Yeah.
I think divorce, and just for the record, we also go by dissolution, if you ever see that term, if you're trying to do anything by yourself with the courts. Dissolution is the same thing as divorce. But during COVID, I would say divorce filings were increased a fair amount.
Wow.
I think it's leveled off a little bit now, since we're, I think, getting beyond that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, the trend is, the more people that are around, the more divorces are probably going to be occurring
Yeah.
in the community. So,
Wow. And do you think that has to do? Is there anything that you think that might cause that to happen more, or is there anything that you think that could help to avoid that, or I'm just curious.
right. Well, number one, I'm an attorney, not a therapist, so I just
Sure,
want
sure,
to
sure,
make that
sure,
clear. But
absolutely.
mediation sometimes can work. I do have a couple of cases that I've worked on where the parties file for divorce and then they actually end up back together during the litigation. And so, rather than going down that path, if you wanted to mediate something with your partner before filing for divorce, you can do mediation through the county, to the court, or you can do a private mediation with a retired judge. I'd recommend trying to do that first before going full on filing a petition for dissolution. paying the filing fee, and then paying obviously a retainer for an attorney.
And I'm assuming you have a group of counselors who you probably recommend as well when you see cases and you say, okay, maybe I suggest to go see this counselor or the ex-counselor to prevent further issues in the marriage.
Right, and typically there are some. Yes, there are some. I have quite a few cases in Columbia County, and the court will typically order who a counselor should be if it's during litigation. Again, I don't have a lot of experience prior to the divorce because people come to me once they're divorced, once they're going to file for divorce.
When there's a problem already, right?
Right. But yeah, I just encourage marriage counseling. I think as a general issue, I think therapy and counseling is becoming more accepted in society today, and I just encourage people to do that. There's nothing wrong with it.
Okay. Now, going back to the real estate side, what do you see often, or how do you let's say there's a couple here who are considering divorce or like getting divorced because, like you say, when they come to you when there is already there to that point already, right? So to get divorced and so. When there are properties, how do you deal with when there is a real estate or several real estate or other money value things in the family in the marriage,
Right.
but specifically like properties? How do you deal with properties when people are separated?
The most typical result, or I should say the default result from a dissolution or a divorce matter, when parties, let's just use the example that the parties own one home. If they can't come to an agreement on how to sell the home or how to divide the equity in the home, the judge will very typically just order in the divorce judgment that the home be sold and the parties split the proceeds. How those proceeds are split, I won't necessarily go into all the details on that, but
just a basic stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Spousal support, alimony, that can play a role in how equity is divided in the home. You can even use child support as sort of a leverage tool to gain more equity in the home, or depending on what side of the aisle you're on, to not have to pay as much child support but receive less equity in the home if that's a situation that you're wanting.
Kind of a compensation. Okay, I'll pay, instead of paying X amount of child support, I'll just let you take a portion of the equity of the house and then no child support anymore. That kind of deal?
Right. And without getting too far into it, let's just say child support, just to use an easy number, was $1,000. If you wanted to come out for 3 years not paying child support, what would that be? $36,000 of child support that you could equate to the equity in the home that you wouldn't have to use.
Sure.
Paying on a monthly basis for child support.
Well, it's just basic information for you families that are watching this video. There are a lot of things that we're just kind of trying to understand, get some ideas how how that usually works and how could work, and of course there are different cases that are coming a different way too, and so like if there is there's probably a couple marriages who sometimes they even have already a will, which is another topic, but so that participates in that area too, or no, like there's a will.
Right, any kind of estate planning or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yes, the extent that I deal with that in the dissolution family law respect is in the judgment. We revoke any kind of beneficiaries or any kind of terms that were previously stated in a will that the parties may have had with each other, in case one party were to pass away 3 months after they were divorced. You don't want some kind of litigation being created from that. But at our firm at Warren Allen, I do We do have multiple departments that deal much more detail with those issues of
Sure.
estate planning, personal injury, general civil litigation, and landlord law.
So you have all different kind of legal departments in your company,
Right.
right?
We pretty
Yeah.
much do close to everything but criminal law because that's an
Okay.
entirely different beast.
Great. Well, see that's the one of the reasons why I wanted to invite you here too, so that like our clients and viewers and I'm sure there are a lot of my past clients who are going to watch this video, and so that that it's not just about buying a house or getting a mortgage. Again, my intention is to bring more information to our communities, and um, I hear often my clients tell me, "Oh, I'm having problems with my son, and I need some counseling, or I need some legal issues for my bankruptcy, or
Mm.
who do you have someone who can help me to do my bankruptcy?" And it's always good to have a team already to help in cases when we need people and for our community, and there are so many areas on the legal side that is good to have that resource,
Right.
right?
And if I may, I would just recommend giving us a call at Warren Allen or giving an attorney a call that's in the community. Most of the time, I know where I work at Warren Allen, the initial consults are usually free.
Okay,
So you get around 30 minutes or so of, as far as family law goes, around 30 minutes or so of
okay,
basically free legal
yeah,
advice.
yeah,
So there's not, it's not going to hurt you real much to
yeah,
call
yeah.
and at least get a few minutes of some help.
And that's very important too to know, because usually when there's any legal matter, well, if especially these days, I see a lot of people already kind of struggling financially speaking, and so they like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna spend money. That's usually what comes into people's mind right away. Oh, I can't afford an attorney, and like you just said, I think that's a great information. There is a free first consultation. At least that will at least let you know where you are, how to proceed with your case or situation or problem that you might have. So I think it's a really good resource, and you guys can do legal assist legally in the state of Oregon only, or you can do that in Washington too.
I only practice in Oregon, but the majority of our attorneys at the firm do Oregon and Washington, and I
Okay,
believe some are in California as well.
great, great, great. All right. So if someone needs, would you mind repeating your number where they can contact you again, just to make sure in case somebody did not take a note?
Absolutely. You can call me, John Stromberg, at 503-255-8795.
Okay.
And I also work with George McCoy, and he handles some family law issues as well.
Okay.
I believe his primary area is personal injury, but there you have it.
And you also have a group of realtors that let's say there is couple marriage that are going through some situations and they have properties. Do you have realtors that you refer them to sell X property if they need to sell a real estate property, or because I know that in on this video there are a lot of realtors that will see this video too, and you might want to contact them as well, because they might have, I don't know how, if you guys have enough realtors who you could refer those clients to,
Mhm.
or if you um, could use other realtors who perhaps can partner, because I think ultimately in this society we it's good to work together, right? With others, resources that we have for our needs.
Right.
So
Yeah, and we at our firm we typically use her name is Janelle Angel Ramirez, I
okay,
believe. Um, and other than that, a lot of times in the family law realm, the parties will just agree on a realtor during the litigation,
okay,
and so that's another idea just to keep in mind if
great,
you have a
great.
realtor.
Yeah, Yeah, so if your realtors are watching this video too, you might want to reach out to them and perhaps I think in our business we all run into people with different needs, like I say, So if you have any clients who need some legal help, you can also refer your clients to them, and I'm sure they'll make sure to take care of them and professionally. And uh, any questions they might have for me on the mortgage, on the lending, on the real estate side?
It,
Um, I'm
how long have you been in the mortgage business?
I've been doing this for started in 1999, so it's a few years, and so I've seen a few situation cases and different clientels, and I the majority of my clients are in the Hispanic community, but I also serve any clients that might need my help as well, and that's again I learned that um, your area is a needed service in my business, and that's why I approach you, and I appreciate that you open that door
Absolutely.
to work with us and to help us and to partner with us. So yeah, about 23 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And have you been in Oregon the whole time? Or
Yeah, I came to the United States in 1991. And then 1999, I started in this business. I got the opportunity, and I'm grateful for it. I learned so much from it, and I can't imagine myself doing something different.
right? I would just say
Yeah,
the community is very lucky to have somebody like you for them
yeah.
fighting for them out here.
Well, it's it's great, it's rewarding. It's people who like me that came to this country without thinking that many of us don't even have a house in our own country, and then coming to this country and being able to purchase a home, and it's like, and I share my own stories with to my clients and people that I know a lot of times because, like my first house, when I first bought my first house in 1998, I think it was, I thought I was dreaming. I thought this is not real. This cannot be true because I know you're an attorney, but at that time I didn't have papers yet,
Right.
and I was able to achieve that, and that's why I strongly believe that there are a lot of things that we people underestimate ourselves a lot of times, and so um, how it happened, I don't know. I just knew I wanted to buy a house, and I applied, and I got my house, and thank God I still have that house these days.
Right. Now, I
Yeah,
applaud your diligence and hard work.
yeah.
It's
So
amazing.
yeah, and we still work. This right now, this business is harder than other times because the interest rate has been increased and it's higher, and people have a lot of fear of the rate and the economy. And we're just watching the news this morning that they might do the shutdown to the government, and
Right.
it's a huge thing. And but it's up to us how we absorb that information. I believe,
Right.
if you let that information to swallow you and take over you, it will take you over. It will take over you.
Right.
Yeah.
And just
Would
as
you agree? Yeah.
as a some semi funny side note, my dad says sometimes I just have to turn the news off because
Yeah.
it gets a little bit too depressing
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
times. But yeah, I second that. I
Yeah.
encourage stay apprised of what's going on, but
Yeah.
don't get a little bit too bogged down in some
Yeah.
things that we have no
It's
control over.
yeah. It's incredible. I was looking at some houses this morning. I saw at least like 5 to 6 properties this morning, and I physically went to visit them because I do that just to learn about what we do in our business. Um, 375, 385, $400,000. There was one for 314,000. So those are great opportunities for people who are thinking, oh gosh, the market is gonna crash or the rate. I think we take too much of that negative message from the sometimes from our own coworkers or people that we work that are surrounding us.
Right. And can I ask you a question?
Absolutely, yeah,
Because I did just recently buy a home a few months ago,
yeah,
and I think it's called a buy down. Is
yes,
that a remedy
yes,
or some kind of helpful
yeah, by down.
thing you can include in a
Yeah,
contract?
yeah, it's a great tool actually, and this is great question, and this is a great question to information to share with our viewers as well. Um, like right now, everybody is concerned about the rate and the mortgage payments, which makes totally sense because if you are making, 4,000 or 5,000 income a month, how can you afford to pay 3,500 a month on a mortgage,
Right.
right? That's reality.
Right.
But on the other hand, how can you afford to pay $2,800 on rent as well? So it's kind of the same in a way. But to answer to your question, yes, there is a program that is called, we actually do have a 3-2-1 buy down, but the typical one is a 2-1 buy down, which means that if the rate is, I'm just putting an example here, like 7%, right? Let's say you get a rate of 7%. So if it's a 2-1 buy down, the first year of your mortgage, you're going to pay 5%, right? So that makes your mortgage lower, your mortgage payment lower, right? So the second year, you pay 6%. So the third year, now you get to your normal rate, which is 7%. So with that, let's say you buy a $400,000 home. Instead of your mortgage payment, let's say on a normal FHA loan, where you do 3.5% down, which is $14,000 down payment, that's a lot of money, but it's not like extremely too much money.
Right.
$14,000 down payment. So let's say your mortgage payment with taxes, insurance, and everything is, I'm gonna just guess here. Let's say it's 3,200, right? No, it's actually about 3,000. Let's say 3,000. But doing the 2-1 buy down the first year with 5%, you might save the first year about $500. So you're gonna pay $500 less with that 2-1 buy down. The next year might go to $200, $250. Then the third year you get to your normal interest rate. But it helps you to like absorb and kind of customize yourself to that high payment now of mortgage.
And
it helps.
Is it true that one strategy might be like during that third year or after that third year when you're paying around that 7% rate, you can refinance if by chance, in 2025 or 6 the market is better or the interest rate is better, you can refinance at that point and maybe get it back down to like a 4.5%.
Yeah. Of course, it depends on the market, but it is true that, and right now everybody, even in our industry, not only clients, but even us in the industry, we hear all over the place. Every meetings I go to or conferences that the rate might drop down next year, but no one can guarantee that. But if that's the case, if you buy this with 7.5% or 8%, whatever might be the rate now, if the rates drop next year, you can always refinance that. You can do that 2-1 buy down. But if you refinance and then you just remove the increase, you reduce your rate and your mortgage payments and then decrease.
Right.
So it's a great tool. I recommend that tool. If you're thinking about buying a house, I think it's a great tool to help not to have a high mortgage payment.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Then thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah. See, that to me, there's so much information that I think we could share with each other, and then that helps to our clients.
Right.
Well, any other questions for me?
I don't have any right now, but I'm sure I will in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my friends who are watching us, thank you so much for allowing us to take this time at your home or your phone. I know many of you will be watching us from your phone as well. Again, my phone number, if you have any questions on the lending side or real estate side, is 503-703-8656. And my name is Don Anciano Garcia. People call me Garcia. It's easier for everybody. For you, my past clients who are watching this, you already know me. You know where to find me. I'm every weekend on the flea market in Gresham, where I advertise my mortgage business and my real estate business. So you can find me there. You can find me at YouTube. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me anywhere you can find me. I can't hide from you. So anyways, my office is in Clackamas. I'm licensed in Oregon and Washington too, so I can help you there in any of these two states. And John, why don't you share again one more time your phone number, please, if you could.
Absolutely. I'm John Stromberg. I'm at Warren Allen LLP on the east side of Portland, 105th and Gleason Street, and our phone number is 503 255-8795. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. And that's for any legal service that you might need. So once again, thank you very much, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I'm looking forward to sharing another video on the next session. Thank you again.